Hello everyone, Religious Fanboy here again. And today we're doing a first for issue number 1 month, and actually first for the channel. We're talking about a manga today. No, not first for the channel, but it's gonna be first manga in a while that we've talked about. I'm excited. I'm pulling up my notes right now, but the series that we're talking about is fairly new, and it is titled Pianissimo. We're gonna be doing. We're gonna be briefly covering every chapter that's come out so far, which would be from chapters 1 through 16, so about the length of a traditional single manga volume. That's how I kind of justified this being part of issue number 1 month. Um, I'm I just felt led to cover this, and I really enjoy the lessons and themes in it. Um, I'm gonna read the verse for this video, which is Hebrews 10:24, verse 24. We will also be referencing Moses and the burning of the bush conversation. This series focuses around the main character's name is Lucky, and he is the sixth child to be born at the exact same time, along with his fellow siblings that are depicted as superpowered piano geniuses, and they each seem to have their own quirks or special abilities or things that they are known for. And due to him seemingly not having one and his piano skills not coming naturally or as naturally as the other children, he was banished from playing piano basically by his father, and we see that he still has a strong desire to play piano, especially since that is one of the main ways that he shows love to his mother that is in the hospital throughout this time, and we can infer that seems like she will die within a year's time of the story. And we've also met a few other characters that we will talk about, such as Akif, Ako, and Rejiro, and Roku, and Mr. Dada, the music teacher. Um, but before we get into more of the plot, I wanted to give the verse of the day, which is Hebrews 10, chapter 10, verse 24, which says, "And let us consider how to stir up one another to love and good works." Um, the main parallels we're going to going at for this as it pertains to the manga is the difference between being, and why we'll talk about the burning bush conversation with Moses, is we're talking about the importance of encouragement and how we show God's love through encouraging others. And we see this paralleled with, in regards to Lucky's relationship with others and how they've affected him, both good and bad, as well as how his hope and optimism has affected his classmates and his brother Regiro, that is, of the other five siblings, he is the main one that we've met. We've met we've met their sister and had some interactions with her and her father, but we don't know much about her yet. Um, um, and the talking points, the first talking point is that a reliance on the easy way leads to resentment. See, oh, and in this part for with the easy way, we would like things to be easy. Like we would like to have big muscles and be healthy, but we are, and and that leads to us trying quick and advertise as easy diets, and how that's how some eating, that could also lead to certain eating disorders. And we see how, like in these real lives, and to bring in an issue within the church, is when, as part of an evangelistic method of like evangelism being a way of pursuing and trying to bring people and kind of to make a sales pitch, if um to them to be saved, we like to say that things will be easier, and like you'll be healthier and feel instantly better about yourself, and that you aren't gonna face hardships. And there are some some churches and ministries today that preaches, and it is important for us to have hope in God and know that God answers our prayers. But it is important to remember that that can come in three ways. Even though we might want it to be yes or no, there, that doesn't mean that he has to. God can is more, he, because he has a plan for us and loves us and know what truly is best for us. He will answer our prayers, but not all. It does not guarantee that it will be in the ways that we want or expect. Um, and does it mean that he will give us easy callings, like what I alluded to with the burning bush conversation? Moses was used as a prophet, and by what is said in the book of Deuteronomy. Moses is thought to be the greatest prophet or one of the greatest prophets of all time. But something that is alluded to in this conversation is that he has a speech impediment. Like he says that he is slow of tongue, which gets fancy words and has been translated and interpreted as he has a speech impediment, and or that he's not good at public speaking, or both things. Um, and that's why God says, "Oh, I'm gonna send Aaron before you, and it will be your and you and Aaron would liberate my people from Egypt, and will go to Pharaoh and speak on mine and my people's behalf." And we also, and through that, we can make the parallel and connection to art and to music, where, yes, we've been given gifts and abilities that could be, that have been, like, there's fruits of the spirit that we are also given, but there are certain talents, like being able to sing, being able to play instruments, and being able to make artwork. But it is also important that, and as shown in this manga, and especially through the conversation Mr. Dada has with Lucky, that the where he basically tells him that, yes, there are gifted people and they do good job, because it is some what they do, in this case playing piano, is something that comes easy to them. But Lucky, though he's still not everything comes easy to him about piano, especially in comparison to his other siblings don't that claim that they are so gifted and good at it that they don't even need to read music, and that they don't need to study it, because in their minds and what they've been told and what's been enforced upon them is that they are already geniuses. But this reminds me of a conversation I had with one of my art professors when I felt down on my artwork, where he encouraged me to, and had talked about how there are people that are good with their gifts and don't feel the need to try to improve because they already view it as good. But those who try, though it won't, and work hard, though it doesn't come naturally to them, are capable of doing great things, which we can see through Lucky, and we even see that he has a very unique gift that doesn't come necessarily to the practicality of the his art form of choice, but it gives him a unique way of showing love and encouraging others, such as Roku and Rejiro and Akko, through his unique ability to fulfill people's dreams for them through the playing of his music. And I really enjoy how it is displayed and how it illustrates differences between, like, we've only seen of his family. We've really only seen prolonged sequences of Rejiro and Lucky playing music, but I really enjoy how they illustrate those things. and the and with the going back to that first talking point, like the easy way like this is also could be portrayed in the Lucky's father's treatment of him, where it's like, oh, this doesn't come easily to you. You still have a drive to do it, but it's like like it. We get the idea that it's just he can't stand to see failure in his kids because they're like thought to be gifted and they are gifted, but it's down to abusive point. Like he even disowns the Lucky's mom and Lucky, um, and even tries to ban him from playing piano. But Lucky continues as a way of showing love to his mom, and because it's still an interest that he has, and we see him continue to succeed. Like he does lose the competition to Regiro, but we see the beautiful reconciliation of their relationship, which leads to our final talking point, where we will of the lessons and themes to take away from the series so far, which is to be vulnerable. In order to be encouraged, we must be vulnerable to encouragement and the help and concern of those around us and of other brothers and sisters in Christ that have a desire to help because God has placed us in the because we believe that God has placed us in the time and place that we are in and has prepared the way for us with other fellow Christians, their fellow believers to help us through life's hardships, like how Dada, Mr. Dada, which I find a very fun reference that I can only assume based on my art knowledge and knowledge of music that Mr. Dada is a reference to the art movement of Dadaism, where a big point that they tried to make was challenging what is and is not art. And I think that's fun how the connection that the author makes. Um, and we also see that through the fulfillment of like with Lucky and Reggie Rose, like Reggie, I'm probably butchering the pronunciation of his name, and I'm sorry. I've not heard it actually said beyond me reading it. But he was very emotional and like he looked to his mom and Lucky for comfort, and because he didn't have that for such a while, when we see him again after the banishment and disownment of Lucky and his mom, he is very cold and jaded, and he even like flicks him and kind of crushes his dreams a bit. Like he like takes a blow to his dreams when they meet again, um, leading up to the recent competition that happened in the past few chapters. But we see through the fulfillment of his dream of seeing his mom and Lucky again and having that support system, like his assistant is happy because he kind of just shut himself off because his needs for comfort and encouragement for when he was crying was no longer being met, so like he didn't feel like he could share his emotions. for so long, but having Lucky back in his life, and because of that, Regiro wants to welcome him back and encourages him because he wants and needs people like Lucky and Lucky himself in his life. And we also see this in Roku, where he is very discouraging when we first meet him. And I want to say chapter 8, maybe chapter 10. Um, and in kind of like the end of that, in the end of his initial chapter, we see his like room in a disarray, and like he talked about how like he hopes Lucky is able to maintain his optimism because he couldn't. And it's really cool how like his dream is to be present in front of a crowd, have that experience, that feeling. And that actually happens during Lucky's performance as like the fulfillment of dreams. That is the ability that after we've mentioned that Lucky has. And yeah, on this is not sponsored by Crunchyroll, but this is using the app is the only way I know it's available right now. So I would highly recommend. Um, I believe the for the free version, it's the last three most recent chapters, and the first three chapters that are free and available to read. I recommend doing that, and if you would like to read the full series so far, I believe the subscription is only $1.99 a month. Um, so I'm gonna say that we're not sponsored, but I highly recommend this series to you. It's one of my most favorite mangas going right now. And also, um, if you'd like to support us, please subscribe. And I might start a Patreon, but I look forward to reading this more. And if you'd like to discuss it further, I would like to cover this more. I don't know how we'll go about doing that. But with that being said, I'm going to leave you with our discussion questions. We've got two. Well, yeah, we've got two. And then I will be signing off. Um, the first discussion question is: who or what is your greatest source of encouragement and why? And the second question is: what is something that you feel like God is calling you to? And and do you feel equipped to do what He's calling you to? Why or why not? And I would love to pray for you about that. And with that being said, there might be another video this week on this channel for Urban Legends issue number 1. I'm still working on that one. And then next week, to round out issue number 1 month, we're going to be talking about a comic I am super excited to cover the series with you guys. And that is Mr. Miracle and the Source of Freedom. We're going to be going through issue number 1 month, and then that will be give and After that, in the description of that video will be posted the new upload schedule going forward. And with that being said, may God be with you, and I will see you next time. Bye.